Hello and welcome to The Engine Room, the podcast where we explore the trends, insights, and ideas shaping the future of B2B marketing. I'm your host, Laura Pearsall, the head of sales marketing at Prime Creative Media, and I'm joined again by Christine Clancy, our CEO. Hi, Christine.
Hi, Laura. How you going?
Yeah, really good. Excited to get into another chat. Today we're talking all about events.
Events, trade events. Yes, we've been talking a lot about media and marketing, but events is a big part of our business, and I
Yeah.
think we've got a lot that we can help marketers with. Events, we've seen events done well, and we've seen events done badly. So
For
let's
sure.
talk about doing them well.
Yeah, let's get stuck in. So, as you mentioned, we are an event organizer as well as a publisher. We organize over 30 events every year. So, we've got quite a bit of hands-on experience in this
Yes.
space. And as well as being an event organizer, we exhibit at a lot of events too.
Yeah.
We do attend quite a few events. We have many industries that we publish in. We attend all of the major events for those industries as
Yeah.
well. We
Yeah.
often have booths at those events.
Yeah.
We're often out there making sure that we're getting the most out of the events that
Yes.
we attend to.
Yeah.
So we thought today we could just share a little bit of our experience from both sides, really, in terms of making events really sing and pop.
Absolutely. And I guess to put it in perspective, I want to talk about, when you're attending an event. So we could talk about organizing an event, but really most B2B marketers, you're going to be attending a trade show is most likely. So that's the perspective we want to come to. And it's amazing. I've been to events and you'll go around, you talk to exhibitors. You might have one exhibitor. They're like, this has been amazing. We've gotten all these leads. It's been fantastic. And then you talk to someone two booths down and they're like, oh, we've been struggling. We haven't been getting leads. And you can see when you when you walk up to the stand from that reception, why it is. So this is
Yeah.
about us giving tips so that you're making sure you want to be that stand that's walking away with all those leads. So that's what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, the reason we really wanted to talk about events as well is, we see how popular they are now. We see that there is huge interest and demand for them. They also are one of really the best places that you can build relationships with your clients and with your current clients, with future clients. It's one of the fundamentals of B2B marketing that we talk about all the time. Relationships really pave the path to sales in this sector.
Yeah,
So yeah, we thought it was really timely to talk about it now.
absolutely. Yeah, can't wait to get into it.
Excellent. All right. So what we did was, like you said, we've seen it all when it comes to events. So we wanted to distill what we have sort of seen and what we've learned into 10 key takeaways to talk about today. So let's just dive in.
Yeah.
Our first one is about promoting your presence before the event.
Yes.
So you can't just rock up to an event and
Yeah.
expect to, everything to flow from there. There's a lot of pre-prep work that goes into running an event that can really make sure your experience while you're there goes as well as possible.
Absolutely. And like you said before, it's about relationships. So yes, often you'll want to walk away with leads from an event, but there's a lot of companies that just take part in events to make their brand presence known and to connect with their current clients. Often that can be your main goal. So naturally, if you want to do that leading up to the event, you want to let your clients know, hey, I'm going to see you, at say the Coffee Expo or QME. I'm going to see you at this big event. Let's find a time to connect. So letting people know, and there's lots of ways to do that. It can be as simple as putting something on your signature block, putting it out on your socials, getting content. A lot of event organizers will give you some content as well to promote that. So there's so much you can do in the lead up. So it's really important. So when you do an event, you almost want to have a whole marketing plan kind of beforehand in the lead up, during the event, and afterwards as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as B2B marketers as well, often we are the ones behind the scenes organizing the event, making sure it all works and goes to plan, with stand execution and things like that. But I think if you've got teams that are going to events, just make sure that if they're not leaning on you, they really should be.
Yeah.
There's comms that can be going out to let people know that you're going to be there. Like you said, you can put things in your signature block, but even putting out emails in the lead up to events with like Calendly links to book in time with people at your booth, I think is a really important pre-event activity as well.
Yeah.
And then also leaning on promotional channels that you might have access to. So promoting through whether it be, media partners and things like that.
Yeah.
Lean on those. They're often the place that people are turning to learn about these particular events.
Yeah.
Position your brand alongside those.
Absolutely, because we know it, because most of these events, they're advertising in our publications. So
Yeah.
we know that the audience is exactly the kind of audience that you wanna reach. So if you've already got a content partnership with some of these publications, send them your press release. They'll put it out there saying, "Hey, this company is releasing this," and try to have some kinda news angle.
Yeah.
I think that's the key. You can't just put news out there, "Hey, we're gonna be at this event." It's like, "We're gonna be releasing this new
Yes.
technology. We're gonna have this key person there." Find something that's a bit of an edge so that those press releases do get picked up and that there's a bit of a news. Because when you just read so and so at this event, it's one thing, but it's like releasing new technology.
Yeah.
I saw this giant bucket you could walk into, recently
Yeah,
at
that's cool.
our QME show. So find that little angle that you can do and just promote that ahead of
Yeah.
time so that people have a reason to come and see you.
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip. All right. When you actually get to the show, what do we need to do? Well, I suppose this is actually a pre planning activity as well. But,
Yes.
it's really important that your stand is easy to remember and easy to find as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So, some of the things that we recommend around this are, obviously just the sort of really making sure that you invest in your signage
Yeah.
at your stand. And events are a big investment.
Yeah.
But we also really encourage people you've made the investment in the show, don't stop short.
Yes.
Make sure. And what we're talking about is sometimes little things like, instead of having pull up banners, invest in printed screens at your stand.
Yes.
It just, if you're going to put all the effort, you're going to send the staff there,
Yeah.
make sure that the stand actually really stands out and grabs people's attention.
And I think this is a really good point. If you are going to invest in a stand, and especially if you're looking to generate a lot of brand awareness from it, understand that, that price of booking, that's one cost, but make sure that before you decide to do an event, look at the whole budget. How much is it going to cost you for your furniture, for your signage? If you want a really great brand presence, I would recommend rigging. Rigging is when you have something kind of giant hanging down from the ceiling. That kind of stuff really gets attention. So again, if you're going to do an event, do it really well. Like you can, if you want to get a feel for an event, there's a lot of walk-on packages, 3x3. Even then I would recommend just a few printed panels if you do just want to get a feel for the event. However, if you're looking to make a big brand presence, do it. Make a brand presence, do the investment. Often, especially in B2B marketing, you actually only have to pick up 2 or 3 new clients to make that investment worthwhile. So
Yeah.
really think about that in terms of your return on investment.
And I think consider, the scale of the show in line with your particular business as well. If you are a market leader in that particular industry, you really should be investing in that rigging, and because that is the kind of thing that really stands out.
Absolutely.
And the brand opportunity that comes from that,
Yeah.
it's very important.
Oh, and you got to think of, sometimes it's like, okay, what's the cost of being there? But what's the cost of not being there? And in terms of like, if your competitors are there and they've got a great presence and they've invested in the rigging and they've done that, what's that going to mean? And that all your clients are going to go to that show. What's that going to mean to you? You don't want to be the one who's going around, with a trench coat, handing out samples from the inside of your
Yes.
coat,
Yeah.
like that's kind of the idea. If you're in an industry and you want to make a good presence, invest in being at the show and invest in having a good brand presence. That's how you're going to stay a market leader
Yeah.
or become a market leader.
Yeah, yeah, back yourself and back your team. And another way to really back your team, it's really about equipping your team for success.
Yeah.
That's our third point there. So we want to make sure our stand is looking fabulous. We need to make sure the people that are working on our stands are ready to go as well.
Yes.
So this is my number one pet peeve with events. When I get to an event and I'm walking around and I see people working on their stand.
Oh,
They're sitting
yep.
down, tapping away, they're doing their emails.
They're sitting on their phones, and like we understand you're busy. However, all that investment in the event, I said at the beginning, you can go to an event and there's one stand and they've gotten heaps of leads and they've had a great event, and the other one, they're like, oh, we haven't gotten any leads. Guarantee you that one who's gotten leads, their people are standing out towards the hallway, they're greeting everyone, and they have some kind of activation. The ones who have struggled, typically they have a team sitting on their phones
Yep.
on the back. That is really like, what is the point of all that investment if most of your team is just going to sit on their laptops and sit on their phones like during the stand? Like really, you want to be out there. It's really on you. So you actually do have to brief your team on this, on the importance of putting themselves out there, greeting people as they pass by. You never know who's going to be a decision maker, an influencer, who's going to bring their friend to come and see your stand. You want to be grabbing people as they come past.
100%. 100%. I think it's really important to think about as well, just having the right mix of employees, the right
Yeah.
mix of representatives for your brand on a
Yeah.
stand as well. Not everyone is naturally the best at pulling people in. And sometimes, you need to have technical experts on your stand.
Yeah.
We're in B2B industries.
Yep.
Sometimes those people might not be the best at pulling people in. So
Yes.
make sure you've got a
Good call.
mix.
And have a mix and give your team breaks. I think this is really
Yeah.
important. Like, don't take your break at your stand. So
No.
even if there's just two of you at the stand, if you do need to get some work one, go. Most good shows today, they have lounges, they'll have a catering area. Take breaks, go have a sit down, check your emails, do your work then, and swap out so that you're all kind of fresh throughout the day. You're much better to take frequent breaks than have a massive team there who's all sitting around on their phones and on their laptops.
Yeah. And they're a marathon. They're not a sprint. Like,
Yeah.
we've all done events. We know
Yeah.
what it's like. It can be quite tiring.
Yeah.
Take the breaks.
Yeah.
Invest in that.
Yeah.
Swap out.
Yeah, because imagine you've got
divide and conquer.
Imagine you've got a key client, potential client who might come in right towards the end of the day. Your team's exhausted, they're on their computers, and you're just missing that opportunity.
Yep. Yeah, you've got to be on all the time.
You've got to be on, so that's why taking breaks is really important.
Yeah. This leads really well into our next point, which is about creating reasons for people to stop.
Mm-hmm.
So, train your team up so that they're ready to, invite people in. But also, if you've got a reason for them to come in, and sometimes that's, like we've all seen, obviously, giveaways and, prizes and things like that. They've absolutely got a role to play. People love a giveaway.
Yeah.
Why not leverage that?
Yeah. And with the giveaway, it's like they go to get it. It's like, but then you have a little chat with them first. I've seen this done really well where it's just like, hey, do you want this? What do you do? Have a chat about it. And again, even if they're not your ideal client, who knows who they're going to go and talk to say, hey, go and chat with these guys on these stands. They've got these great things. And then that might be your next one. So really engage with everyone who comes through. And giveaways, prizes, competitions, have some fun with it. And you know what? It's actually more fun for your people working the stand as well to be engaging with that and have an activity and give them a goal. All right, let's get 50 people to enter this competition today. Give them a challenge and really get your team excited about being there.
Yeah. And then obviously along with that, we're looking at demonstrations. What sort of demonstrations can you be doing? How can you make it fun and interesting and engaging? The point is really actually that people have a really memorable experience at your stand.
Yeah.
So think about how you can do that. Like it's B2B, we're serious.
Yeah.
But how can we do it in a fun way that makes people remember us? Because that's our number one goal, really.
Yeah. And that's what branding is all about. Branding, even to B2B, is still about the emotion behind the brand. So you want people to see your brand and get excited by it.
Yeah. Now, our next point is using giveaways strategically. So we kind of preempted that one a little bit there. But I think one of the points that we wanted to make around this one was just making sure that, if you are going to do a giveaway, let's make it practical. Mm-hmm. Let's make it relevant to your actual industry. Let's make sure it's something that your target customer is actually interested in.
Exactly.
What do they want to engage with?
Yeah.
Let's just be a little bit more strategic than, a bottle of champagne or something like that.
Yeah. like stubby holders. Like we might use them for our truck shows. We probably won't use them at our coffee shows so much,
Yeah.
So things like that, you do want to think about it. And again, as a giveaway, it's not just pass them to everyone who comes by. The goal is not just to get them out. It's actually to use it as a way to bring people into the stand. And you can actually train your team this. They hold on to the giveaway and have a chat with the prospective person, get some information, maybe get a business card, scan the lead, and you do that before you hand it over.
Yes, I've absolutely been known to do that. People will come up and say, can I have a, I've done shows before where we've kind of given away, like in particular industries, particularly education, I think this is a good one for, when we give away sort of toys and things that people can take home to their kids.
Yeah.
That can often be a nice way to pull people in.
Yeah.
It's thinking about your target customer and what's going to appeal to them. Yeah. And then they sort of say, oh, my kid would love that. I want to take that home. And I'll be like, you absolutely can, but let's just grab your details.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit of a chat. And then same with us. I mean, the number of shows we've done, and we give away magazines, but we're not just handing there to every single person as they come. We just have a bit of a chat with them. And again, and it makes them not just take it and put it in their bag. They
Yes.
actually engage with you. They engage with the brand.
Remember the
Yeah.
interaction. And that again leads into our next point, which is about making lead capture a priority.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, like, and the giveaway is a really nice way to segue into that.
Yeah.
And then obviously here we're just talking about things like, any decent show these days is obviously
Yeah.
utilizing a really high quality lead capture system.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we're always utilizing that. I mean, I'm old school. I like getting a business card too,
Yeah.
but let's use the lead capture system,
Yeah.
and that flows into
Yeah, and
some of
I
our
will actually give a few tips. So ours, we use Events Air, which a lot of companies will do, and a few tips on Events Air I've seen over
yeah
the years. Firstly, make it as easy as because there's a lot of back end settings you can do. A mistake that I've seen is people set up a lot of mandatory fields that you want your rep to fill in before you can put the lead through. That can be very time consuming.
yeah
So most good lead capture with Events Air, you have the option to put in those fields. Do it if you really feel that it's necessary, but otherwise make them optional. Most good lead scanners, if you don't set those up, then all you have to do is scan the pass.
yes
It gets all the details right away. Don't worry, your event organizers are going to help you out. Make it as easy possible to get those leads if quantity is your goal there.
yep
And even then, like you could keep a little notepad somewhere else, and if you wanted to keep notes on some of the leads, and again, I would recommend actually having a physical notepad if you want to take notes down. Because the problem is if you take the notes on your phone, what did we say before? The worst thing you can do is be sitting back on your
yeah
phone. No one's going to stand in, but a quick little notepad, someone put the company name, a few details about what you spoke about, quick lead capture. That's probably the most efficient way I've seen leads done.
yeah I think that's really important, just like adding a few notes,
Yeah.
because we know they're long days. You will, if your show's going well, you
Yeah.
will have a lot of leads to get through.
Yeah.
So actually just having those reference points that you can come back to,
Yeah.
and we will get to this, but it just allows that follow up to
Yeah.
just really flow
The
a lot more
follow-up.
easily, and the follow up needs to it needs to be specific.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
let's get to that in a little bit. Let's
Yeah.
actually look at our next point, which is really focusing on the quality
Yeah.
conversations, which is obviously, the entire aim of the game.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that we can do to really make sure that we're having a great conversation with the people that come to our stand, particularly when we're starting to see some interest, we're starting to sort of realize, hang on, this is someone that is genuinely
Yeah.
interested in what we have to do here.
Well, I think it starts there. I think for the first thing is training your team to identify the quality conversation and who's a decision maker and who's probably
Yeah.
less relevant. But this, I would be very careful. You don't want to be quickly cutting off. You're like, oh yeah, no, sorry, you're not relevant. Look, the ones that are trying to sell you stuff, it is okay to very politely just say, oh, thanks so much. I'll take your business card and try to finish it off as quickly as you can because really and this is what I mean, like you don't want to be the ones showing up to a show, in a trench coat, selling things from inside. So like if that's your strategy as a show, like I wouldn't go to that trade show because that's not really the purpose. The purpose as an attendee is you're there to really view, to see what's available, and it's all about so at the trade show. So if you have a stand there, it is okay if someone's trying to sell you something very politely, just
Yeah.
like thanks so much, sounds interesting. Take their business card and say we'll get in touch with if they're interested, but it's okay to cut that conversation
Yeah.
fairly short.
I would say as well, like, feel free to mention it to the event
Yeah.
organizers as
Yeah.
well, because the event organizers don't want that kind
Yeah.
of stuff happening
Yeah,
behind the scenes.
absolutely.
either.
Yeah, so cutting those short, and then otherwise, there are some influencers. So again, recognizing, see if people are interested. But once again, help your team identify, ooh, this is probably not our ideal clients. The truth is, most of your team will know. I would still encourage them, be polite, chat a little bit, about what you're doing, because again, you just don't know who's going to be an influencer
Yep.
or is going to tell someone else. But once again, if they're not really going to be a potential client, again, train your team on cutting that conversation politely, but a bit shorter because there might be someone standing right next to them
Yeah.
that is a quality client. So you do want to be quickly assessing. And what do you do? And where are you from? Oh, have you ever used, something like this? Oh, no. Well, let me tell you about it. Oh, thanks so much. And then you could have a flyer to quickly give them to be able to cut the conversation short to then move on to assess the next person.
Yep. I think the really important thing that you said there as well was, in the interaction, ask questions.
Yeah.
Let's be asking questions.
Yeah.
We don't actually want to go straight into the spiel. Let's learn a little bit about the person that
Yeah.
we're speaking to.
Yeah.
And if we are qualifying that they're interested, let's keep asking questions.
Yeah.
Because that, this is your best chance to be doing discovery on a client.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow your follow-up after to be so
Yeah.
much easier.
Yeah. And also, people love talking about
They really
themselves.
do.
So if you want to do a good impression about someone, ask them where are they from, a few personal questions, then get into the company. They'll just think you're the greatest person in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's actually just part of, having good conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a really important business activity too.
Yeah.
All right. So we've had these great conversations. We've generated lots of leads. We go home. We're exhausted.
Yeah.
But the work does not stop here.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more to do. We need to have some really clear next steps.
Yep.
And that's our 8th point there.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd say is these need to be mapped out well before the event.
Yeah.
These need to be mapped out in advance so once you get home exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
Start with those leads that you've generated. Start with the lead capture system. And that's the point of create using the lead capture system.
And if I can make a point here, this is a mistake that I've seen made is companies who there is one person who's in charge of it. They haven't really taken the time to explore the technology, to test it. Like when you started the show, capture a lead, jump on, make sure the lead's coming through. Like even you can do this during your setup. Scan a lead, make sure it comes through, make sure no one knows how to download the leads afterwards. Because another mistake I've seen is like no one's done this work ahead of time. They're not testing the system and they realize after 3 days that their team's been doing it wrong.
Ugh.
Yeah. So really you want
Nightmare.
to test it. You want to know it. Or the other thing I've seen is then people kind of, they don't know how to get the information properly afterwards. They're getting in touch with the event organizers. Well, your event organizers, they're often packing down a show. They do have a team. They will try to get back to you normally within a day or two. But if you've done the work ahead of time, then you're not sitting around, dependent on that. You know how to do it. You know how to download your leads. So again, please do that work at the very start of the show. Test it. Make sure someone knows how to download it, and you will feel relaxed that you're doing it right the whole time.
Yeah. And I think if you're a marketer, if you're back in the office, maybe you haven't been to the event, but your role is actually supporting people at the event, let's have the systems firing and ready to go.
Yeah.
So the second you get your hand on those leads, and it should be, either during show or at the straight after the show, they need to go into your marketing tech. They need to go into their own lists.
Yeah. They need to be assigned to salespeople. They need to be an individual follow-up. I think the one thing, okay, if you get thousands of leads, wonderful. Maybe sending a thing, but this is, let's face it, this is B2B. So, really you're walking away, a good show really depends, maybe 20 quality leads is a really great show in B2B marketing, depending on your industry. So you can have individual notes and do individual follow-ups. We all know what a generic email, great meeting you at this show. And you know that it's just been automatically generated. So if you do have the time, do personalized follow-ups. It was great meeting you for this reasons. Remember, you've asked them a few questions. You've been taking notes. So you can remember, I hope you're going to have a great time in your trip in Europe next week. Looking forward to catching up when you're back. So take those little details. It makes such a difference in that follow-up.
Yeah. And I think as well, the day after the event, we want to be sitting down and we want to be qualifying those leads.
Yeah.
We want to be, who's our really hot ones? Let's get them in the pipeline. Let's assign them to a stage. Let's make sure that we are, direct follow-up for the ones that have the most prospect. But then with the ones that are a little bit like, still at their educational stage, still learning, okay, what sort of education are we going to provide these people in an ongoing way? How are we going to do that? Get it set up while it's all still fresh in your mind, and away we go.
Yep. And a little tip there, all these potential clients of yours, you can actually get in touch if you're working with a good publisher like Prime Creative Media. You can actually say, hey, can you make sure all these people are receiving the publication?
Yes.
Because then you know that they will be getting ongoing communication, and they're not going to get it from you. They're going to be reading about you in a newsletter, like as well as in a printed publication. The email addresses are a bit different. I mean, we're quite lucky because we're publishers where we have the data. However, with print publications, you can actually add anyone to a print publication list. The rules are different for print, so I would ensure that they're getting those print publications that you're a part of, because then imagine they meet you at the show and then they get the print magazine, they read about you, they're like, wow, and they're like, oh my gosh, I met that person at that show. That was fantastic. I should get in touch.
Yeah. That's a really nice sort of pipeline interaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
From event to follow through.
Yeah. And often you can work with your publishers on having extra content around these shows. So kind of before, during, and after,
Yeah.
because it just makes it's such a good way. People read about you ahead of time. They see you at the show. They read about you afterwards. Like that's what B2B marketing is all about, is
Yep.
that constant communication.
Exactly. Stay front of mind.
Yep.
So our second last point is follow up quickly, which I think we've touched on. It's not good enough to kind of, a week after the event start sifting through the leads and start following up.
Yep.
No, it's really got to be the day after,
Yeah.
1 to 2 days after.
Yeah.
If it's on a Friday, we're following up on a Monday.
Yeah.
There's not too much more to say to it than that, really. It's
Yep.
strike while the iron is hot is what we're wanting to say
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. I did a show recently when we did a cute Queensland Mining Expo, met with someone, and then it was just kind of a nice interaction. They told us about their product. I saw that we actually had a prop in front of them for one of our magazines. I emailed the next day, CC'd our salesperson, and we were able to close the sales.
Yeah.
So things like that, just like really quick and remembering, and that personalized touch makes a big difference.
100%. And then our last point is about measuring your results. So really, I mean, like all marketing, we are always testing, we are always measuring, and it's no different with events.
Yeah.
We really need to have some metrics in place, some key objectives that we were looking to achieve out
Yeah.
of the event, and actually just make sure, like, let's review. Let's see how
Yeah.
we went against those
Yeah.
objectives.
And I'll say, although leads is one thing, connecting with current clients, like make sure you measure that.
Yeah.
That is very important, because often in B2B marketing, sometimes you do only have a handful of big clients. And sometimes you are just at these shows to make sure that you're seen, that you're present, that you're there ahead of your competitors. And then it's just about connecting with them. So it's not just about leads and new business. Make sure you've got connecting with current clients as well on there.
Yep. And I think, a really easy way to do it, it's pretty old school, but like, print off the exhibitor list or have a look at the exhibitor manual.
Yeah.
Any of your clients that are going to be there,
Yeah.
cross them off as you go.
Yeah,
Make sure that you are connecting with as many of them as possible because, we know relationships are key.
Relationships are key. Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of our list of top 10 tips. Christine, any sort of summary, final takeaway you'd like to give our listeners today?
I'd
on
like to
B2B
say,
events.
I can say from our perspective, we have seen a big surge of an interest in events. Media is it's steady, it's important, but I think people are wanting that face-to-face connection, that relationship more than ever. So I think really now is a time, look at the events, support them, because not only is it great for your brand, it's actually wonderful for the industry. You get together there. Every event now will have a strong conference program. It gets the industry together. It really, our purpose here at Prime Creative Media, growing individuals, organizations, and industries, taking part in a good event that brings everyone together, that shares knowledge. I've seen it with so many different industries. So really, I would encourage you to have a look at trade events.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my takeaway is really about, like we said, sort of making the most of your stand. If you are going to sort of go forward with an investment, don't just think of, okay, I have assigned this cost to the booth.
Yeah, it's
And
not an operational task. And I think
No.
that's we see. It's like people just think of the operations and the lead up to it, but it's a marketing task. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And really, like look at that cost, but then also like, let's see what else we can do to really make the most out of this investment. We can't just stop here. And that goes with making the stand looking amazing. But and I think the people is really critical
and
as well.
Exactly. And that's not an extra cost, right?
No.
You're going to have people there. So taking the time to train them to make the most of it, really, like that's no cost to you. And that's just smart B2B marketing.
Yeah. Let's think about like, what is the point of an event? It is about face-to-face connecting in person. So let's make sure that is the part that really hums when we get there.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I reckon that's a really good place for us to wrap up this episode.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Laura.
Thank you, Christine. And as always, if you'd like to like and follow and subscribe to our podcast in either on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, we'd love to have you. And we'll see you next time for the next episode of The Engine Room.